I can't stop the feeling. Shaun, big game back at Hull. Former stomping ground of yours. Second visit this year. Are you expecting anything different from the last time?
I wouldn't have thought so. The way the two sides line up, they're pretty evenly matched. We've had two terrific games. Both games we played could have gone either way. I mean, with an ounce of luck, Hull could have beaten us at the KC Stadium, and with an ounce of luck, we could have beaten them at the Willows. So, not much between the two sides. So we're very much looking forward to going back there. It's always a special place for me, having lived there for 5 years and coached a team for that 5 seasons, and always been well received. And but looking forward to going back there and hopefully playing well after having had a week off. We're looking fresh and regenerated, and that was the whole idea of giving the players a few days break, and hopefully that'll be a benefit for us.
They've got a few danger men as well, haven't they? You'll have to be on your toes about certain lads who line up for them. Really though, like, you're looking for a performance from our guys. Last 12 games of the season now, really. You're not setting any external targets as such, but you must have in your mind roughly where you want to get to.
Well, I mean, any coach would say they want to win every game they go in, so I don't want to put us under pressure by using a percentage of that. I think it's just, you know, I was quoted during the week as saying we don't target games, and I don't. I never have as a coach. I think that every game you're playing, you should prepare the best of your ability. You should go in with an attitude of winning, and that's what we're going to try and do this week. So that's no different to any other week. If you ask me the same question next week, I'll say the same thing. But you know, it's the processes you go through on a daily basis. It's the homework you do. It's all the DVD work. It's the individual work with the players. It's the structures. It's the strategies you try to put into place. And hopefully we can assert our game plan a bit better than Hull FC can. But that remains to be seen. So you're right in what you're saying. They've got some terrific players. I mean, their player roster really doesn't do their position on the table justice. And when you consider they won their first 5 games, and they've only won, I think, 2 out of 12 since then. You know, they're a much better side than that, and always have been. So they're a dangerous team because they've got strike, they've got finishing ability, they've got some good workers. So they're a very dangerous side. So we're going to have to play at our best. And you know, I would say the last couple of weeks against Wigan, we probably weren't quite at our best. And I think a classy side like Wigan show you what can happen when you're not. And you know, hopefully we've learned some lessons from those games.
And you're a couple of bodies light as well, and a bit of shuffling around to do.
Yeah, Rob Parker that's a bad injury. We've got to be very, very, very careful how we treat that. I mean, you know, we laugh it off in this game as a fractured skull, but you know, our game involves mini car crashes. I've always described it as that, and Rob's been involved in a mini car crash. That's what's happened in the game against Wigan, and we have to be really conscious and careful about his welfare. Willie Tallow's had surgery. He's gone for the season. Obviously, Robbie Paul will be back. Robbie Paul will play. He's got through this week, so that's a plus for us. Carl Fitzpatrick hasn't played for 6 weeks and really isn't looking like being fit for another couple of weeks with a medial ligament problem in his knee. And of course, Paul White, well, we just haven't seen and won't see for the season. So they're 4 very experienced players that, you know, are not easy to replace. But our back row in particular has been extremely good in the way they've worked this year. And Rob Parker will be sorely missed. But Ian Sibbett comes into the team. And Ian is, you know, he's an experienced player, and his work rate was also very, very high. So hopefully that won't make too much of a difference to the way that we play our game.
Do you think recent international performances will make Richie Myler more of a marked man than he has been already?
I don't think it'll make him any more marked. I think Richie's just got that target on his head that will be there for his whole career. He's a gifted player. I mean, I probably run out of accolades to categorise and to describe Richie. He's just an exceptional player for a young man of his age that's done what he's done already in this game. You know, is just incredible. It's an amazing feat, really, when you consider where he's come from and where he is today. But with that, there's a price, you know, and the price is that constant speculation and constant scrutinising of him as a player, and there's people out there that've obviously had an eye on him for a long time, and you know, maybe there's movement time, you know, and we're obviously trying to keep him. He's been made a very, very good offer, one that I understand would make him the highest paid player in the history of Salford City Reds. That's up to Richard now. You know, there's nothing more you can do. We've made him an offer. He is contracted till the end of 2010. I think, you know, everyone needs to understand that he is very much our property for another 18 months. So, you know, that's up to Richard now as to what he wants to do. If he accepts that offer, that's great. It's great for me personally. It's great for him personally. It's great for the club, because I want him to stay. I want to be able to build a team around a person like Richard Myler and other young players that we have at the club. And but if he doesn't, then we react accordingly and we respond accordingly. And that's business. That's the business we're in.
Has he progressed? Well, obviously since signing as a 17-year-old, has he progressed faster than even you expected maybe in the last 18 months?
I think he's handled Super League a bit better than I thought he might have. You know, he's got a lot to learn. But the thing about Richard, there's a couple of things that stand out for me. One is just his sheer ability, but he's very mature. He was mature as a 17-year-old, so he's even more mature now as a 19-year-old. But not only maturing physically, but he's very mature emotionally. And the other thing that stands out for me is his coachability. He craves information. He wants to be coached. He wants to learn. He doesn't accept that that's the finished product, you know. And I think we see that in some games where, you know, he doesn't always, you know, nobody gets things right. Darren Lockyer still doesn't get things right. Andrew Johns, when he was playing at the peak of his career, didn't get every single thing right. Richard Myler certainly won't get every single thing right, but he'll get a lot more right than he gets wrong. And that's what I think stands out about him at the moment. At his age group and relative inexperience in this game, at this level, he still gets a lot of things right, and probably gets most things, you know, more right than perhaps a lot of players that have come through at his in similar years. And you know, as I said, he's a gift. He's really a gifted, talented individual. And you know, it doesn't surprise me that there's interest being shown from, you know, outside Salford, because he would be a player. If I was coaching another club, he would be a player that you'd certainly look at, you know, and you'd say, well, I wouldn't mind a Richard Myler in this club. So we have a real gem at this club. But as I said, that's, you know, that's now up to the club and Richard and, you know, his advisors to try to work something out.
Does it excite you that you may be taking on your lot in the Four Nations at the end of the year, possibly as the great white scrum half?
Well, he'll learn a lot more playing against Australia and New Zealand, that's for sure. He'll learn what it's all about there. You know, with the utmost respect to the Wales team last year and the French team this year, they were pretty weak. But having said that, you know, if I draw comparisons to other sports, if you go out and open the batting for Lancashire against a sort of a pop gun attack from another county, and you get 100, and people say, oh, well, their two opening bowlers are out, you know, you still got to score those runs. Yeah. If you make the Wimbledon final and you play against the number 35 ranked player in the world, and you're ranked number 1 or 2, you expect to win. But when you win, you still got to win. You still got to play, and you still got to win. And at international rugby league or any rugby league, I mean, you know, we go back to last year. We beat Doncaster in the final of the Northern Rail Cup 69. We said, well, you should have won. Of course we should, but you still got to go and do it. Yeah. And I think that's the important thing about Richard Myler playing internationals. It doesn't matter who you're playing against, you've still got to be able to go out and do it. And if you play against you know, the French team were weak, the England team were very strong, big mobile forward pack, paved the way for him, laid the foundation. But it wasn't just the tries he scored, it was the other ones that he set up, and his control of the game I thought was very important, his kicking game. You know, he wasn't threatened too much defensively, but you know, he played extremely well. But you know, Wales and France, they're no New Zealand or Australia. So if he is there in the Quad Nation at the end of the year, he'll be climbing the learning curve very, very quickly.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, Shaun. Good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, mate.
Okay. Cheers.